Hey, we're live. Guys, welcome to the second episode, technically third episode of Tinfoil Bunker. Today I am joined with Kelsey. Kelsey is from Twitch, right? You do Twitch, anything else? Do you want to promote away?
No, I just Twitch. Twitch.tv/Kelzayeee.
Hey, you got a pretty good TikTok. Don't slam
AELZ.
yourself too hard.
Well, I mean, it happened randomly. It was a mess. I didn't do that on purpose.
It's enjoyable. I've enjoyed it so far. Definitely check her out on TikTok.
Fun.
Do you have a handle?
Yeah, Kelsey. It's Kelzayeee for like everything.
Make sure to check it out. So today we are on something I'm super excited with. We for people who listened so far, but I guess that one's not live, so I guess I can't say that. But so we talked about this a little bit on the Mandela episode, which I'm super excited to air. But today we're going to talk about how the world ended in 2012.
Right.
So do you want to sort of give them a rundown of what we're going to be talking about?
Yeah. So as you said, like everyone thought the world was going to end in 2012 because the Mayan calendar ended like December 21st. Well, the theory is that there's this nuclear research facility called Cern that was like working on making black holes, and they actually did, and we all got sucked into it.
Which is weirdly possible. I don't know if you do much research on black holes or not, but no. Black holes around the I think it's called the crest. That's probably wrong. Somebody will tell me I'm lying, but on the crest, you can actually, it dilates time, because as the black hole has so much gravity, it even warps time and space. So, I mean, we could be stuck in, some kind of not parallel world, but it would be like a time dilation.
Right.
And that would also explain why we haven't found any intelligent life, anything like that.
Mm-hmm. So it explains so much, to be honest. Yeah. And that's why it's one of my favorites, because I'm like, you know what? It makes sense.
Oh, yeah. And it's scary how much, legit science sort of backs it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's my big thing, is I'm so like scientifically driven that like this is one of the things where I'm like, it's possible.
Yeah. Like it terrifies me just a little bit. Ooh, excuse that. Sorry. I'll make sure to cut that. Yeah. But, it terrifies me. And there's also so many possibilities of what happened. Like you mentioned the Mayan calendar. This was one of the big ones that I've always sort of freaked out about, because the Mayan calendar ended. Everybody was like, oh, I guess nothing happened. But it didn't specify that the end of the world was going to happen at the calendar. Right. It just mentioned an event. So what if the event, and like I said, we talked about this a little bit on the Mandela effect. What if that causes the split in universes? So, the Mayans disappeared randomly. Maybe they had their time wrong. So maybe this was our time to bridge and go into a different universe.
Fair, yeah.
Or even maybe this is the one where everybody comes back and clashes, which has caused the Mandela effect.
Right.
There's just so many, like there's so many possibilities with this one.
I've even heard recently that it's actually like a spiritual thing, that we moved into like the information age, right? So it's like a whole different time period, kind of.
Yeah, I could see that. Almost like time traveling.
Almost, yeah. Or like just the beginning of a new time period.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I don't know how that would work, but I personally kind of believe in time periods and like, I don't know, parallel universes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it's hard not to, especially with like all of the different things that people. I keep bringing up Mandela effect, but this is so closely related to the
right.
That
yeah,
subject.
They kind of go hand in hand. I think that this event kind of tries to justify the Mandela effect.
It would almost like be the central cause, because 2012 was the starting point of Mandela effect, where everybody started realizing. So maybe that was the clashing of the universe. Maybe that was the universe collapsing in on itself. Or like you said earlier, the Hadron Collider, the CERN you were talking about. So CERN, I don't know if you're super familiar with it, but
only a little bit.
Yeah, what they do is take particles or atoms and they shoot them through like these magnetic tubes, giant magnetic tubes at a high rate of speed, and they smash them into each other. So it actually causes them to clash and explode. Well, essentially making a tiny little explosion, which is encased with, obviously safety specs. But even Stephen Hawking was worried that the collision of these, instead of showing them, they were looking for a thing called the God particle, which is essentially like the thing that links us all together. Even, I mean, as much as, you know, this wall back here, we're related because of the God particle.
Right.
So they did find, speaking of which is interesting on a science level, but Stephen Hawking was worried at that high speed and clashing. That's exactly how he theorized that black holes worked. So, I mean, super terrified. He was alive then. So he was super terrified about it, which, I mean, with all of his research, it technically could be possible.
I don't understand trying to make a black hole.
I don't think they were trying to make a black hole. They were trying to make an amazing discovery in science. It's just they were like, it's possible we could kill everybody in a giant black hole.
It's
which,
possible.
I mean, yeah,
it's probably safe.
Yeah, spaghettification isn't too bad, I hear, right?
Right, yeah. It's like a 2% chance.
Yeah, I think it was higher than that, weirdly
probably.
enough. Yeah, like, I think they were more shooting
fine.
for like, it's like 10% chance it could create a black hole, but you know, we'll shoot for that.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Like scientists play too many games with everyone's lives every day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when did you sort of catch on to this one? Was it around 2012, or is this a recent discovery of yours?
I don't remember exactly. It wasn't recent. It might have been a little bit after 2012 when, like, you know, people, it kind of like died off that we all were gonna die because the time was gonna end, and then people started theorizing like, well, maybe it meant something else, you know. And then like word comes out about, you know, research facilities doing one thing or another, and I think it just came out of that, and just like, what if they did? What if they succeeded? And that's what happened.
Yeah, I think this really hit big. I would say about a year or two after that, as far as my recollection, is around the time where everybody was like, well, if it didn't mean this, it could mean this. It's like sort of like how every Christian starts out with the end of the world. And they're like, it's going to end today. And then if it doesn't, they're like, move the goalposts.
Yeah, it's like, oh, no, it wasn't that one. We meant the other one.
Yeah,
the next time.
I think recently we actually moved the goalpost. Speaking of this same 2012 Mayan calendar, they said technically the calendar was wrong and it was supposed to be 2020.
Right.
Because that was the big thing about COVID and all kinds of stuff that they were like, oh, it's just late.
Right. Which, yeah, I mean, like, oh, we saw it wrong.
Yeah. Which, I mean, technically, I guess it could be a thing.
Or it was something like, oh, we calculated it wrong. It's actually 2020. I think it was like, what? It's the same calendar?
Yeah, I think it's once you calculate like the daytime savings and all that stuff, like in the different time zones of where they would have said their time from. So I think that was the whole big deal about it. But either way, we're still here, and maybe that Mayan calendar scare gave us the potential to figure out how to deal with this plague that was supposed to be coming.
Maybe.
Yeah. So which one do you really latch on to? Like, there's about there's a billion different theories about this, but I think there's three prominent ones. There's the we're all in hell, number one, which we'll get into. The number two, that we're in a black hole, which we sort of touched on, and then three, that we rather split or collided into parallel universes.
I would say I feel really strongly that we could be more towards parallel universes or parallel timelines. I have like a bunch of theories on that alone, but like I feel like it would be the parallel universe type.
Yeah, what's
feel
one
like
of your strongest parallel exactly like universe theories? I got to hear it now. You brought it up.
My strongest?
Mm-hmm. Like, which one do you think is like the scariest one that you have?
The scariest?
Yeah, like the almost real.
I don't know if. Oh, okay, almost real. I was about to say I don't know if it scares me.
I'm sorry. I moved three different. I'm moving goalposts now. The due date is here now. Yeah.
Right. I would say that. I feel like if it's parallel universes or parallel timelines, we probably shifted really close to like another one, right? And I feel like maybe we like bump into them, or there's certain locations that it's closer than other locations. So I feel like we're kind of not exactly bouncing back and forth, but maybe we kind of just like bumped into each other and like it's just a weird time chaos type thing.
So sort of not to bring movies into this, but have you seen the last Cloverfield movie? Where they did the Cloverfield paradox or something like that? So I think they sort of piggybacked off this theory. So what happens is that they go up into they essentially turn the space. Oh my god! I swear to God, I know science. What is the space thing that we have? To be super scientific, the space thing we have that float up that all of us sort of stay in. The space station, International Space Station. I got there. We worked it.
Good
we
job.
Worked it. Yeah, you know, if you've ever
I had
listened,
an idea.
yeah, if you ever listen to Why So Nerdy or anything, I eventually work myself to the point I have to go down a rabbit hole to get there.
Just let you do your thing.
Yeah, but they turned the International Space Station into a power generator essentially. So it was like the Hadron Collider, except for they were clashing them to create infinite energy. So it would solve the energy crisis for all of humanity. And what happens instead is that they literally jump from one universe to another and they merge. So like everything's in a different place. Like the space station merged with the other one. So like one of the people end up in the wires in the wall. Like everybody shifted a little bit to like left or right and stuff like that. And they had to learn a whole new history and stuff like that. It was that poor guy. They were in his arms. Oh, like sorry. It bothers me still thinking about it. But it was such a fascinating movie, and it reminds me a lot of that theory of clashing universes. Which I mean, I don't know how much you've been following stuff lately, science wise, but they discovered Egyptian pyramids and remnants of sarcophaguses and stuff in America. I can't remember exactly where right now. I will have to look it up.
I saw something about that, but I just I was like, that's not a thing. And then I like continued scrolling.
Yeah, like I saw it on some bullshit website. Like they were like, you know how it's like a science, wow, or something like that they put on Facebook. Right. And I'm always like, let's see how legit this is. And I'll look it up. But yeah, it was a legit thing. They found it. I want to say it was near New Mexico, but I cannot say it for fact.
Like every country has them.
Yeah.
And we only have had the technology to go to different countries for so long.
Yeah, you really wonder how they got over here like that. Right. I mean, I guess everybody had a long time to walk back then.
I guess, but if they made pyramids in one country and then do you think that they were traveling and they're like, oh, we should put those in our country, and then they went back and did that too?
I don't know. It's such a the time frame would have to be so weird, and they date all of those back to around the same time. So there must have been some cataclysm event. Yeah, are you thinking aliens? I don't have the right hair. Aliens.
I don't know.
I gotta stand up a little bit.
I also we're not even on the topic, but I like the theory that we came from Mars and we repopulated on Earth.
Well, I want to do an episode on that, so I might have you back and we'll talk about that one because it's weird. One's
really good.
Yeah, it's weird thinking about. I mean, technically, we could have had a civilization there, and we just ruined the planet.
Right,
and then we moved, and then
dust now, and somehow we were here, and we all did the same things around the world. And then we all discovered each other.
There's also the strange theory to where we are intergalactic beings that actually just dropped off and started a colony, and then the colony just forgot where we came from.
I also think it's really interesting how there's this gap between Neanderthals and today's humans. Did you know that there's a weird missing link?
Yeah. We've always been searching for the missing link. I feel like speaking of goalpost moving, that's a real goalpost mover. Right. Is every time they find something new, they're like, but we're still missing this.
They found some other new thing, and it still wasn't the link. There was still more to it, and they were like, that's not it, but it's something new. And I was like, I just want to know.
That's the thing about science. We're always looking for answers, but we just find more questions.
Right. It's crazy. I'm tired of questions.
And I asked when I went to college, we had a scientist come in for we had a big auditorium meeting, and they did a big presentation. Sort of I don't know if you had Muhammad Ali stop into your school when you were younger, but I feel like he made a tour to where he went everywhere.
Something like that.
Yeah, somebody big came into school. It was sort of like that. And we had a scientist in. And I was asking him, if we ever found the answer, what do you do as a scientist? And he's like, we find more questions to answer. And I was like, oh no. I was like, so you technically wouldn't want to find the answer because then it'd ruin your job.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's always questions.
There's so many. We can just go, we can stop space and go to the ocean, you know?
Oh yeah.
There's just so
we probably need to work on that first.
Yeah, but like, is it that interesting?
Yeah. Have you not seen a
I'm
balloon octopus?
A what?
A balloon. I think it's a balloon octopus.
No.
Where it's like it like bloats itself up, but it also has like lights running through it. It almost looks like a
that's nuts.
Yeah, it's like a neon sign that blows itself up.
Same with cuttlefish. I don't understand how those were made through nature. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no way.
It's evolution gone wrong.
Right, because like it's insane. I'm like, there's no way that's a thing. But
it's the one that went the wrong way in the mud puddle. Like we all went towards land, and he's like, oh, "Fuck this! I'm going back this way." My weird ass nose.
Yeah, now I have disco lights on my body, and we all lost because we don't have disco lights.
That is true. I would have gone for some disco lights.
Right.
I think that would have made us really easy prey on land, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's good to be dark up here. I mean, I guess in fairness, it's good to be dark down there.
Right. So
what is the advantage of having disco lights other than being a cool fucking asshole?
If you watch the videos, it looks like they mimic the ripples on top of the ocean. So maybe they look like they're part of the floor or something.
Oh, okay. I could see that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Look really cool though.
I still think it makes you get eaten like at least twice as much.
Probably.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Anyway, we've strayed so far away. So let's go ahead and do you want to start with black hole? We already sort of touched on parallel universe.
Right.
Which one are you thinking? You want to go to hell first?
Should we? I kind of feel sometimes
I'm in hell. I was about to say, that one's always resonated with me a little bit.
Right.
I've had some health problems and shit's been a little weird. I mean, not to get too political, but we had a guy recently that was pretty weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and that's a whole thing too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of further promises me that there is a parallel universe because I feel like before 2012 that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, no, and not
a lot of things that are happening wouldn't have, but I could be wrong.
The divide has always weirded me out of the new political scheme. Like we talked about a little bit of that in my last episode with the country music. We were talking about political divide with that, and it's weird. Back when I was younger, I don't know if it was just from where I wasn't a voting age before all this craziness happened.
Right.
And I remember it being like, oh, we want this guy, fuck your guy. And then as soon as it was over, everybody's like, all right, back to it.
Yeah, they're like okay, well, try again next time.
Nobody had a big tattoo on their forehead or anything like that of specific people. Got a little weird.
That's a whole other conspiracy, to be honest.
Yeah. For the people, because I always see the rationale of this is not hell is that, oh, well, nice things happen too. There's people that have, billions of dollars. They do nice things. And I was like, what's pain without a little bit of joy? If you, I never pictured hell as like fire, brimstone and all that shit. If you've ever, and before I get too far into this, because I feel like somebody's going to type it out in the comments. Have you seen The Bad Place or The Good Place?
No, I've meant to though.
Really, really good show. And they actually talk about this is that, hell wouldn't be all fire and brimstone because then all is pain. Mm-hmm. Like the greatest pain comes from having something awesome and having it snatched away from you.
Right.
So I think maybe that sort of leans a little bit into, this could be hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I could feel that.
Yeah. But how would the Mayans know? They did disappear. Do you think they were benevolent beings, maybe, that they were like, hey, by the way, hell's coming?
Or maybe they were just always tripping.
Yeah, that could. I mean, honestly, I'm sure the Mayans got into some weird shit. They also played a game where you could lose your head if you lost. So, I mean, or no, wait, was it if you won, you were a sacrifice? Oh, no. I can't remember.
Maybe they did know it was hell then. They were like, if you win the game, you're out.
You're fucking out. You get out this game. You go back.
Get out. And they're like, I want to do that. I don't want to be here.
That could be. They're like, I'm fucking done with this place. Right? Please send me out. Shit. I want to win. I will get good at this game just to get the hell out of here.
I mean, I would play that game.
Yeah. But then you lose all the, well, no. Because I mean, now that I think about it before I say it, hell's never really been depicted as fire and brimstone. They talked about it a little bit in the Bible,
Only, yeah.
but like I've
Like,
always seen the depiction of it as just like it's a bad fucking place to be.
mhm.
You know, it never specifically said fire, brimstone, death. At least not to my knowledge. If somebody knows better, please let me know.
I
Send it to our
wonder where
email.
that came from then.
Yeah.
That somebody was like, hell is just fire.
I think
Like,
it was
who
inserted.
hated fire so much that they were like, that it came from hell.
Yeah,
Like,
I think it was inserted in the newer terms of the Bible. Because in Old Testament, I'm not sure. No, because the Old Testament was fire and brimstone. I think it was just smiting, though. It wasn't really, you know, hell is this awful place. I don't know. I'll have to relook that up. We'll touch back on that. Anybody that's yelling at me through the microphone, please just send me an email, tinfoilbunker@gmail.com. And just let me know, and I'll fix it later on. But yeah, I totally like I used to say all the time. This was before 2012 though, so maybe I was just a dramatic teenager. But I remember when I moved to Kentucky, I was like, we flew through this big storm. So like I'm doing visual things on an audio fucking podcast, but I'm gonna do this for you. We were flying and there was a storm. Ooh, and it was like it looked like, you ever touched like one of those little like globes of lightning?
yes.
Yeah, they used to have at Spencer's, really bringing a throwback.
I wanted one so bad.
Yeah, I flew through one. When that's what storms, like bigger thunderstorms, look like when you fly over them. I don't know if you've ever been a plane.
Yeah, because the lightning's just going back and forth through the clouds all the time.
Yeah, and then it connects with a negative and positive through the air, and that's how it hits the ground. But it was a big globe, and we flew through, and the plane actually got struck, which weirdly enough does not really do much other than it makes you sort of drop a little bit.
Right.
So we drop in the sky about, like, you know, it seems like a lot when I say it, but we dropped about 100 feet, which isn't that much when you're that high up.
Right.
But it feels like you dropped in like one of those little roller coasters. So we went through that, and like when I landed in Kentucky, which, you know, could be hell.
I was about to say it, but I was like, oh, that's why you think you're in hell.
Yeah, like I went from Vegas, this awesome place, you know, where like you could go out for a burger at 4:00 and get the same burger that you would get at 4 p.m. that you could at 4 a.m.
Right.
And it was nice, you know, you could have a life later on. But like, you know, down there, everything closes early. There were so many cows. I remember so many cows. And then the lady that I got off the plane next to was exactly what I imagined Kentucky to be. She was really heavy set. She had no teeth whatsoever. She was waiting for her hubby. I can't wait for my hubby to get off this plane. I was like, this is it. I was like,
this
I'm
is
here.
Kentucky.
Yep. I was like,
I'm
her hubby's probably her brother's sister. And it's gonna be twice removed though, somehow. Yeah. But yeah, have you ever had like an experience that really put you're like, yep, this is it. This is hell.
Fucking every day.
Every way to be fucking dramatic about this, Kelzayeee.
I don't know. So to be honest, I know like the year specifically says like 2012, and that's probably true. Mm-hmm. But my personal experience, I feel like I died in like 2016. So maybe like it took me a while to catch up. Yeah, but
you were one of the survivors. It's like
literally every day I'll like hear something like a song or a movie that came out, and I'm like, oh yeah, that came out a few years ago, right? And I'll look it up, and it'll be like 2013.
I fucking do that so much. I'm so glad
I do it all the time, and I'm like
so aggravated.
I'm like, how do I not have any concept of time anymore? Like I just don't ever with anything.
Like, what was it? I think it was a Bruno Mars song that came out not too long ago. I was like, oh shit. I was like, I remember that song. My girlfriend's like, what do you mean you remember that song? I was like, I used to listen to it all the time back in high school. She's like, no, you didn't. It was not out. It just came out like this year. I was like, no. And we'd get into a big argument about it, and we'd look it up. And I was like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
Like, so it has to be similar songs. Rather that, or you're right. Like maybe we each deal with our own hell in different ways, and ours is just music that we thought we knew and we don't.
I feel like I've done that before too, where I was like, I feel like this was an old song, and then it was like, no, it's brand new, and it's not sampled or anything. It's just like, I don't know. It's crazy.
The worst is movies. Like movies that you're like, oh shit, didn't that come out forever ago? It's like, no, this just released. No.
Well, like I'm the opposite, because every movie that I remember came out like 15 years ago.
Oh,
And I'm
there
only
you
like 28. So like, what is happening?
You're like, I remember this when I was a kid.
It's crazy. But like literally everything. I'll be like, yeah, that was only a few years ago, and it turns out it was like 10.
Yeah. That it happens to me so frequently. Like it what movie do you think it like really like clings in your head as that one? Not to put you on the spot, just
I was about to
watch
say
the sizzle.
I don't know.
It's
Number Rain
okay.
Mountain.
Like I
I
always think of
haven't.
Black Widow, and I think it's from where the COVID thing took for so long. The new
Wasn't
Black
that
Widow.
like a couple of years ago?
Yeah, is it a couple years ago? See, now we're having this problem already.
I don't know
The
times.
one they released that she's suing over, where she decided she was going to fight with Mickey Mouse, which I'm really worried for.
Are you worried for Mickey?
Yeah, I'm worried for Scarlett Jo. Not
okay.
Not that she deserves worry. I mean, she's just mad that she couldn't play a
right?
different race in that movie.
Right.
Why am I not an Asian woman? It's like, because
you gotta take all of the things. Just because you're rich doesn't mean you deserve to get fucked over.
Rich and pretty, apparently she can do everything.
Rich and pretty, get your bag.
I mean, good for her, I guess. But also, I mean, damn, All right, so what we discussed, did we go deep enough into parallel universes that you feel satisfied with it, or do we want to move to black holes? We can always go back to parallel universes. I feel like that's a never-ending rabbit hole.
Well, I kind of want to put out there, and it's kind of different, but like I feel like instead of ghosts being real, I feel like we're experiencing things from other universes.
That could be. So there was actually a interesting theory. Ooh, God, put me on the spot for a year, but I'm not sure. But it was a few years ago, and I say a few, like 5 to 10. You know how science goes. Yeah, you know how science goes. Just the other day, about 10 years ago.
Or next year.
Yeah, or next year. Yeah, depending on how this rolls out. But they were talking about time being stationary. So we experience time as like you're in that realm. So it's like almost as in we transcend from one universe to another. You can't go back, but you can always move forward. So they discussed it. It was just it was a hypothesis that they never. I mean, with those things, you can never confirm nor deny them. But it was so fascinating to think like, oh, maybe that's why we see time ghosts, like where they're specifically from a different age. So maybe that place is locked in that zone, and we just so happen to tap into it at that moment.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen. Oh God, what was it? House on Haunted Hill. That's a game. There's a show on Netflix. I will put it in the link if it needs to be. But there was a show on Netflix where the house, it was like a haunted mansion that their parents moved into, and it ends up killing the mom, and slowly ends up trying to work through all of the family. Mm-hmm. Does that ring any bells?
No.
Oh, it was such a good show.
I feel like I haven't watched a movie since 2016.
So. No. This was a TV show.
Well, that too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just live on YouTube.
I just exist now. I don't
get
even
that.
Know what I do.
It's probably better that way sometimes. Like, you miss out on a lot of things, and it's not worth missing. But this show I do recommend. It's sort of a cheesy jump scare show, but the ending is so fascinating. And I'd hate to ruin it for anybody. I'll give them sort of a little counter here. If you don't want to hear the ending, if you know what I'm talking about and you're watching it at this moment,
watching the show for some reason,
yes, and you know the name, or you're about to be really pissed at me, I apologize. But there was the haunted house show, and what happens at the end is that she talks about how when you die, you just roll through time. And so it's her experiencing her life. She saw a ghost her whole entire life, this hung woman that scared her to death, and it caused a lot of trauma when she was a kid. Well, it figures out at the end, when the house eventually gets her, it makes her hang herself. Well, as she hangs and her neck breaks, she flies through and sees every moment where that ghost showed up. And so she was her own poltergeist. It was crazy. It was so fascinating. Like, and I was like, it was such a subtle, like, hit to science, but I was like, oh my God, the possibilities are endless when you think of death as just a portal into different time frames.
I feel like it is, to be honest.
It absolutely could be. That's the best part about death. No one
and like part of it is like, well, obviously I don't know anything about being dead. All I
Yeah.
know is being alive. So
I mean,
maybe it's just a bias,
yeah,
but I feel like it's just there's something else, you know? Like
there,
maybe you just relive it
there,
or
absolutely.
something.
Like that would explain deja vu.
Deja vu. Yeah.
Me and Dante actually talked about it. I don't know if it made it on the podcast or not. It might have been before we recorded, but on the Mandela Effect episode, we talked about how death, when you have those deja vu moments, it's not really, oh, I'm just thinking of a place, or oh, I saw this on TV. It's you died and you're just re-experiencing this moment. This is your reset.
Right.
So like you're living your technically, which is sad to think about, you're living your perfect life up until said, time. So like you live until you're old and then you die.
Yeah.
And then you just restart over again.
There's been plenty of times when I felt deja vu and I had never like been in the place, but I was like, this seems like really scary and familiar. And I try to like think, because I have really realistic dreams, so I try to be like, oh, maybe I dreamt about it, but it just doesn't sit right. Like I feel like it happened.
Yeah, it's just something impossible, like you've never dealt with before, and like there's no way you could have imagined that.
I'm just like, yeah, like I've done this before. I know exactly, or like I know exactly what's about to happen, and it happens differently. But I so strongly feel that it's about to happen a certain way that I like stop and I wait.
Weirdly enough, I do that. So I have these things to where I dream about stuff, and it's like years before said thing happens, but I have like a really boring dream where it's like, oh, hey, I'm sitting in a factory. Like when we worked at Amazon, I specifically remember hanging out with you, Chess, and Steven all at the same time. We were all talking, and you were standing behind a computer. But this was years before I even met you, and years before I was even thinking about it.
That's crazy.
Well, it would be nice if it was a power that I could use, like where's the lottery numbers?
Right.
Where's something
it's
useful?
It's not going to work like that.
Yeah. It's like, you're going to meet people and have a good time. It's like, cool. Thanks, brain. I'm glad
you're going to be chilling at work.
I scoured my brain. Yeah. I scoured my brain in time and space and was like, you're going to have a good time this one time. There you go.
I guess it would be things that stick out, which would be kind of sad.
Yeah. Thank you.
Or it could be good.
Maybe it was a good moment in my life, Kelsey. You don't know.
Well, I don't know. Was it?
It was at Amazon. Yeah, it was that. Now, if there was a hell, I'd still be at Amazon. So
exactly. So you know what? I guess we can take that theory and
I broke
throw that in the trash.
You don't have to worry about that one anymore. Yeah. It's not hell. Mike would still be working at Amazon. Everybody would be working at Amazon where they don't let you go to the bathroom.
Some of us are.
Unless they want to pay me to say that we had to go to the bathroom. I will take their money. Daddy Bezos, please hit me with some cash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
Oh, one day. No, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait for the Shiba train.
I feel like one day there's going to be some kind of class action lawsuit from like all the people who have worked in the fulfillment centers. And we'll just
don't worry. It won't get published, I'm sure.
When we're like 70 years old.
Oh, yeah. It'll be the, I don't know if you have Blue Cross Blue Shield or not, but they just had a lawsuit roll in. And like I got an email that was in my spam about how settlement that you could be up to a couple $100. And I was like, wow, I wish I would have got that, and down in the date, it says a month before after I realized I got it. And I was like, I'm glad they sent that to me. Like, so I'm sure that's how Daddy Bezos will hide his
yeah, it'll be in the spam folder of your personal email address that you used 60 years ago.
Oh yeah. Could you imagine, even with his trillions of dollars, if he had to give bucks, I think he'd be fucked. It's like a population of the world. But of course, what? Did you ever see that video where they compare his money to our money with little rice?
No.
Man, I'm gonna send it to you because man, if you're having a bad day, that's a good topper on it. And you're like, oh, so I got this little. Oh yeah, it's like here's your little piece of rice, and here's Daddy Bezos's money, and it's just this huge pile of rice, and you're like, wow, fuck that dude.
And then you're like, can I have one more piece of rice?
Please,
and
sir.
He's like, fuck no.
Please, sir, man.
It's my rice. I'll starve to death if I give you any. If I give you a piece of rice, I'll have to give you a piece of rice and you a piece of rice, and then I won't have any rice.
He could give everyone in the world a bag of rice and still have plenty of rice left.
Like, can you just cut one of your pieces in half? No.
There you go. That's a good. That's a communist statement, and shame on you for thinking that way. It's my favorite argument. Communism's bad. Why? Because everybody lives. Yeah.
Yes. You know, people don't give a shit about other people.
Yeah, it's sad in this world.
Mhm.
That's why we're living in hell.
They're like, we can't give poor people money because then we'll be poor. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, the rich people will be poor.
Who do we loft our amazing wealth over then, Kelsey? Huh?
I don't know.
Who am I going to go? Here's my Ferrari that I bought that I'm never going to drive. It's sitting out in my front yard.
I guess.
Oh, you're hungry? This Ferrari could feed the whole world, but I'm gonna throw it away.
Right. I don't like it. It's the
I don't
wrong
like
color.
it's the wrong. I ordered specifically midnight blue, and it's almost purple. I'm just not into it.
Not into it. Throw it away. Put it in the junkyard because we don't want anyone else to have it either.
And it's like a giant pile in the back of like cubes that have Ferrari stamps on the side of them. Like, I'm done with that one.
They're all almost midnight blue, but
right, yeah. Like progressively lighter shades, and one that's dead on, but just like he just was in a mood to throw it away. Yeah. It's trash. It's done.
It's trash.
Yeah. All right. So
maybe we are in hell.
Yeah. See. I think we've really nailed it. Yeah. So on the parallel theories, so I did want to get out. I don't remember if we talked too much about clashing parallels or opposites. So like, I was sort of theorizing when it comes to the Mayan calendar that since they disappeared, I was thinking maybe this was the next step. So where civilizations disappear on their own, or to keep with the black hole theory, slowly getting sucked into the black hole of different time frames. So I always thought that since we got sucked away at said 2012, maybe that's why we can't find any intelligent life. Maybe that's why no matter how far we probe or how deep we go, you know how light works, like where we see a planet and it's like, oh, hey, that'd be really cool. But technically we're seeing it multiple millions of years before.
Right.
Yeah. Before the actual time. Yeah, it's so weird to think like, no, but I'm looking at it. And it's like, if it was to look at us, dinosaurs would still be walking on that planet.
Right? And
yeah,
I'm like,
it's like no fucking way. Yeah, science is weird. Like I feel like that's the reason why we're never going to run out of questions to answer. It's because as deep as you go, there's just so many more questions. Mm-hmm. But anyway, like what I was thinking is since they disappeared so rapidly, maybe there is said world to where all of our civilizations are empty now and they're restarting. And since you can't create nor destroy matter, maybe they just recycle it. So we go into a stasis period and we just ride out until we deteriorate, which is sad to think about, I guess, but fascinating.
But I wouldn't have to pay bills.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Solve a lot of problems. Don't worry. They would never let us know. The rich people would still make us pay bills.
Oh man, that would suck.
They'd be like, "Oh, we're stuck in stasis. That means I can just sap all the rest of the money."
Maybe that's what's happening.
It could be. This is the weirdest reality. Let me tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I feel every day I'm just confused.
Yeah. So what do you think is the most like profound one? Are you still sticking with parallel theory, or have we sort of tempted you towards the hell side, or?
Profound.
Yeah, like which one resonates with you the most? Like which one do you think is most most plausible?
I'm still thinking parallel universes.
Yeah, the parallel universes one is fascinating, and it's less.
To be honest, I mean, hell could be literally anything, so it could be the same.
Yeah, maybe we're in the hell universe.
The hell universe. The hell.
Which man, what an asshole! Whoever, like, if there was a deity, what an asshole they would be for said thing. But I think between that, like, I think parallel has always hit me the most. Like, just because I like to believe, we're not trapped in some really awful black hole,
right?
That we got sucked into, and we're just stuck here forever until time collapses on itself.
I mean, I guess, but like, where are we anyway? Like, we're in space.
We're in a giant black.
There's nothingness. Like, how is that even possible? That there's like literally nothing.
The fact.
Where does it end?
I mean, technically, it doesn't. Right? I don't know. Science is weird. Like, it used to be that the world, the universe was expanding, and then it was collapsing again. And I think we're back to saying that it's expanding again.
Yeah.
but I don't know how we rate that. I think they measure like as far as we can see, and if it gets further away or closer away. I can't remember how they did it. I used to be more versed in that. But
it blows my mind, and my brain literally cannot handle. So
does
it just doesn't compute.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had the I talk to the Mormons regularly when they come out here. I also dabble in religious studies.
Mm-hmm.
And when they come out, I try to talk to them, and I just so happen to tell them what I was doing tonight, and they're like, "Oh, what are you going to be talking about?" And like the eyes on these poor kids, they're like, like 20s, like early 20s, like late teens, and like their eyes as I explained to them the fathoms of the parallel universes and stuff like that, like their eyes were like bulging out. They're like, I was like, yeah, I don't want to break your brain too much. And I was like, but weird shit's happening.
Now they're all just like laying in bed, like,
oh yeah, existential crises. Yeah.
Oh my god, what if he's right?
What if we are in parallel universes?
What does it mean?
Yeah, like I mean, it could be we find weird shit every day. Like, and it parallel universes explains a lot about the weird stuff that we find. That like we stated earlier, the pyramids stuck together. I mean, shit. The technological boom that hit everybody at the same time.
Right.
Like it could also fall into that. Like what weird stuff did we discover, or maybe something got dumped here from another universe and we picked up on it. And we're like, hey, we could piggyback that technology for a few years.
Or they just forgot they found it, and then we were like, oh, we made that.
Well, it's also like the same thing. Like when we found the clock. Do you remember the clock that they found underwater?
No.
So there was I don't even remember what the age on it was. It was pre anything really, like pre years. It was like right around the time of like, oh God, it's metal. Like it was made of bronze. So they called it the, what's the city that disappeared in the water?
Atlantis.
They called it the Atlantean Clock because the precision on all of these gears were so precise, even though it dates back forever, like they before we should ever have any of these tools, but yet somehow they made the clock was still accurate when they opened it up. And they said if it wouldn't have, I believe it was rather it sunk underwater, so the gears ended up eventually rusting, but if said gears wouldn't have rusted, it would have kept going. Like it blew my mind. Like once they fixed it, I believe they got it running again. That I might be talking my ass out of my ass on that one. But
that was a dream.
Yeah, it could have been. I mean, it could have been part of the other reality I was in.
It'll happen in 2 years.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's a possibility. I wish. I have some cool dreams sometimes. I need to help them. Hey, my girlfriend had a dream about the Shiba thing today, and it's going up pretty good. I don't know if you're involved in the stonks.
No.
Well, it's crypto. It's not stonks.
Yeah.
Hey, I have to give you the speech. Go ahead and jump on the Shiba train. Everybody listening, jump on the Shiba train. It's about to get big.
It's in a dream, so it must be real.
Yeah. Hey, it happened. It jumped up like 12% today.
Damn.
Numbers, Kelsey. I can see the interest on your face with all those numbers.
Wow. Cryptocurrency.
Yeah, this is now the crypto podcast. We've transcended.
Oh no, I've got things to do.
Kelsey's all of a sudden busy. I was gonna stream around this.
Yeah,
time.
it's
10 o'clock was my cutoff point. Yeah. So we discussed all of those. Did we get into black hole? We talked a little bit about it, right?
No, you mentioned something.
Okay,
but
so
I don't know a lot about black holes. So
okay. Well, I'll sort of start and we'll get into it a little bit. So black holes, essentially, I'm sure you're knowledgeable enough to know what a black hole is. It's essentially just a concentration of gravity that literally pulls everything in, even time or space itself and light. So light can't escape, nothing like that. It actually sends out its own gravity waves and everything. So the theories is that it condenses everything down to, it essentially spaghettifies you and crushes you, is one of the theories. Another theory is that it leads to a white hole. I don't know if you know what a white hole is. This could get a little weird if you don't search it on Google.
Right. I was like, I could think of what it could be, but
don't Google that. Do not Google it.
Don't Google white hole.
Yeah, go to NASA first and then type in their searches. Okay, don't just white hole Google and they'll throw something weird at you.
Google images. You'll see some specifically things.
And then after that, look up the blue waffle and also And
Let's just stop with the
I
colors.
think Goatsy is also a star constellation. You might want to look that up too. But anyway, white holes are essentially the opposite of black holes. So that's what they say that a black hole leads to, is it projects energy and matter into the opposite sector that it exists in. So essentially, it would be like if this was a treadmill, the black hole would be the bottom, and then it would rotate us back up to the white hole, since energy and matter can't be created nor destroyed. Right. So it's just a big recycling thing. So one of the big things that they talked about, which we talked about earlier, is Cern. So Cern was the giant hadron collider that they were running, that they were worried could make a black hole. So I think it was like I said, I think it was like a 10%. It was too much for them to be gambling with everybody's lives, right. Honestly. As much as a scientific anomaly that whole thing was, I probably wouldn't have rolled the dice on that one, because knowing my luck, I would have killed us all.
Right. Just instantly black hole.
Oh yeah, there would have been like the last words would have been like, fucking roll the dice, and then it just everything would have blinked out. We would have been gone. Yeah. But with them, apparently they succeeded. But if it would have created a black hole, there is a theory that it dilated time. So, and I want to say it's the crest. I know I said this earlier, but I won't dive too much back into it. But the crest is supposedly so strong that it dilates time. I don't know if you've ever seen Interstellar.
No.
Oh, you need to. That would have been a great movie. I should have told you about that before we recorded, because that's a great movie to talk about this exact subject. So what happens is he actually ends up in a black hole, and they end up, time dilates, and he ends up visiting back to different times. So since all this time is collapsed and stuck in this black hole, he can go travel back. And I think he ends up getting stuck in, as stupid as it sounds, his daughter's bookcase, to where he's been like dropping hints of how to save the world from the other side of the bookcase. So like he became her poltergeist, which, I'm a father, great fucking parenting skills, dude. I would have thought of a little bit better way to be like, I'm a ghost.
Right.
Ooh, but it's Matthew McConaughey. He was busy going, all right, and just that's probably the first 3 encyclopedias he dropped were all A's.
Just, yeah. And you open the cover, it's just all right. And you're like,
that's the scariest ghost. When Matthew McConaughey dies, we're all in for some trouble.
Yeah. I would not be okay if my books just turned into that.
All the words are just 3 sets of all right.
It would be terrifying.
That is the true hell. That's when we know we've transcended into hell. But yeah, he sort of talks about in that movie how you get stuck in I'm going to keep saying crest because I've dug my hole in to stay in it. Yeah, the crest of, I feel like it's like a sunset or something. I don't know. I can't remember.
It's going to be stuck in my head. I'm going to be calling things the crest for the next week.
You're welcome. That is the crest. It could be like a cool D&D thing. Like the crest is like, the thing you put on the front of your head to get superpowers or something. It could be interesting. But anyway, before I get too far off topic, they go a lot into the dilation of time on there. And he ends up getting rescued somehow, which, that gets into, he goes back and also visits his 100-and-something-year-old daughter, or 200-and-something-year-old daughter. We live on like a Halo. I don't know if you played Halo. You're a fucking gamer. I'm not even going to ask that question. But, they live on Halo, essentially, where they have like the cities and stuff that go around. It has its own gravity.
Right.
It was an interesting movie, but it's about as scientific as any other science fiction is. Mm-hmm. But that was always sort of, I think that's where people got this dilation from. And I mean, technically the numbers don't lie. I mean, we haven't found anything. We haven't traveled to different worlds yet. I mean, that we know of. I guess it could be a giant government conspiracy. To put my tinfoil hat on, I don't have a fancy one like you, but to put my tinfoil hat on, they could have a conspiracy to where they're just hiding all of this great stuff from us. But I mean,
they're like, oh yeah, we go to different worlds all the time.
Yeah, like we had lunch on Neptune. I don't know where you guys were at. It was great. Neptune's not as cold as they say it is.
Yeah, there's some really nice places to drink.
And Uranus has rings. It's amazing. Things my sister, I think, told me about that. I'm not sure if that's true right now. I can't remember if that was true or not, but I'm gonna have to look it up now. I don't know. Also, don't Google that, I guess. My
anus has rings.
My anus rings. It's a part of the internet you don't want to be in.
WebMD.
Yeah, but I think
It says I'm dying. I don't know what that
means. right. Everything is always death on WebMD. I swear, every time. I have a headache. It could be cancer.
Yeah, a brain tumor.
Yeah, right. That's usually what it is. Yeah, it's not at all.
I freaked myself out one time because of that.
God.
I was like, "What if it was?" And I don't know. How would I know?
Yeah. Did you go to the doctor? You went to WebMD instead.
But there's a lot of like stories about people going to the doctor and they're like, "No, you're fine," and then it turns out they would have died.
Yeah, you're not wrong. What was it? God, I want to say it was. I guess I don't want to put specific people in. A relative of mine went to a doctor. They said they did not have breast cancer, and then when they got their second opinion, it figures out that they were already in the later stages of it, so they had to have a double mastectomy.
How do you do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they call it a practice for a reason, right?
I guess.
to quote every redneck that deals with their own problems at home.
That's why I don't go to the doctor.
Yeah,
just don't go.
Yeah, just don't go. You never know you're sick if you never go to the doctor.
Exactly. You're like, man, I might die tomorrow.
Yeah.
At least I feel that way. So I'll know,
that's every day, though, right? Yeah. Just take some ivermectin, you'll be fine.
You're right.
snort some of it. I hear that helps more. Exactly.
It helps horses.
Yeah. Hey. It does, right? Yeah, it's parasite stuff. It's known to help your lungs.
You won't have any parasites.
Yeah, that's true. You're blind, but your intestinal line is completely emptied.
Right. Yeah.
I don't have to worry about that no more. Tapeworms are gone. You have to worry about weight issues after this, though.
You don't need to see.
Yeah.
I'm tired of seeing.
Seeing is overrated. Let's be honest. You don't have to put any makeup on when you wake up, or you don't have to fuck with your hair when you get up and you're blind, right?
Yeah, and then what are they gonna say? Like, you look like a mess. Oh, I thank you. I can't tell because I'm blind.
Thanks, dickhead. I'm fucking blind.
You reminded me that I'm blind. Thanks.
Yeah. Way to be the asshole in the situation as I walk away with my backward pants and my SpongeBob t-shirt.
It's like, did your mom dress you? She did. Thanks.
She did. Thanks, because I'm handicapped. Fuck. Way to be an asshole.
Right?
I bet you look like shit too. You know what? I imagine you look like shit, so now you are. How's that feel?
You sound shitty. At least I don't sound like shit.
You sound like you look like shit. That has to be the worst burn to ever receive from a blind person ever.
Like you sound like you look like shit.
That would break my heart on so many levels. You sound like you look like shit. You're right. You're right.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
I do look like shit.
All right. Well, was there anything we missed? Anything you wanted to talk about?
We didn't really talk that much about hell, but well, I guess we kind of touched on it.
I was gonna say I feel like that was the running theme
thing. Yeah.
It's so hard to talk about that one without talking about parallel universe, because I mean it sort of bundles into the same category.
I feel like they're similar, and the weirdness in anything could mean something else, So
and that in like one person's hell doesn't mean that the other person's the same hell, so it would have to exist on two different planes. Ooh, we're all living our own personal hell. What a fun thought to have.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of how it feels like.
Sometimes I definitely get that vibe. Sometimes.
Like there's some cool parts.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of mental health stuff, so I totally get that vibe. But to each their own, I guess. I know there's people worse off, so I would feel maybe that's my own hell, is that I can't help people worse off.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's my.
I think my hell is like knowing that other people are worse off, so I'm like constantly reminding myself like it could be worse.
Hey, yeah.
And then you feel guilty about feeling like shit.
It's like yeah, that brought me up. Fuck that guy.
Yeah. And then you're just like constantly feeling bad, like, oh, you're right. Other people do have it worse, and I can't help.
Yeah. Hey, you can always help. There's charities that help. I know a good one. My girlfriend runs this charity called Southern Indiana Humanitarians. If you ever want to donate.
Oh yeah.
I promise you, it all goes to great things. We've made sure. And we did a great Halloween event not too long ago. Nice. We got a lot of good names. Got to go call all those people. We should have an event coming up. Definitely want to promote them. Check out SIH.
See, definitely doing stuff.
I will put a link. Yeah, we're trying to. We're trying to get bigger so we can help more people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel it.
the more donations, the better stuff we get. Well, is there anything you wanted to promote? So we're sort of in the last 5 minutes.
Oh, no, I'm pretty good.
No, you don't want to boost your Twitch. You don't want to boost. I got people watching this everywhere.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, I already touched on my Twitch, but I'll say it again. And I'll probably start. I haven't really streamed that much in the last 2 months, but I've been trying to like get my shit back together so I can do it again. I kind of lost some motivation, but now I'm just like, I'd rather just do like stuff that I like have fun doing. So
yeah, were you like specifically one thing? Like, did you only do Fortnite or?
No, I usually just play with my friends, but Fortnite was the easiest because like it was just something to like get into and be able to like talk to people.
Yeah.
And then I started to get like a good amount of like viewers. But then
I remember I used to post you everywhere. I was like, hey, check this out.
Right. And then I started going to school and it kind of took priority. But then I also ran into some mental health things. So I'm more focusing on like enjoying the moment right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, and if you ever want to get back on there, I know a guy that plays a lot of games that could help you out. He's loud and obnoxious, though. It's sort of hard. You got to sort of balance it out. But
yeah.
I'm
not too loud and obnoxious, though. I'm pretty chill. So
there you go. We could be a good yin and yang.
Yeah. You just like, make it interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just as normal, I'll go ahead and drop some few things. Definitely make sure to check out SIH. I will drop a link in the description. Make sure to check out Why So Nerdy. I know we've been on a hiatus, but we're both having some health issues, so it's really hard to get us both together on a different time schedule. We'll be back eventually. I promise. And other than that, that's about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you had a good time, Kelsey. I had a great time talking to you. Yeah, hopefully we covered everything we need to.
I think so.
Yeah.
And some more stuff.
Yeah, if not, worst case scenario, we can always have you back on for something else.
Right, yeah.
We'll do patch notes.
Right. Yeah.
we're a gaming company now.
Other things.
Yeah, you don't put out the regular stuff. You put out the okay one and then you fix it into something perfect.
Right, yeah. DLC coming out soon.
God, speaking of which, I do want to add this in towards the end, even though it's not pertained to anything at all. Have you checked out Craftopia?
No.
I need more people on it because it's also crossplay, but it's sort of like if Minecraft had a weird baby with an RPG, but then also what was the game that you played, the Viking game?
Valheim?
Yeah, but also had like a threesome with Valheim. Yeah, it's like a survival game meets a Minecraft game meets an RPG.
That's crazy.
And it is worth checking out, especially on PC. It sucks right now on Xbox 360 or not 360. I regret. Did the Xbox 360 not come out yet? No, is it?
What? We're on
Is
Xbox.
That the new
We're
one?
only on Xbox X, right?
What?
So.
Yeah, no. Sorry, I regressed in timelines there. But yeah, I'm getting older, and so the older everything just turns into a Nintendo.
The Xbox 360.
Yeah. I'm gonna be like my grandma. You playing the Nintendo? It's like Nintendo's been. I got a Switch. That's as close to Nintendo as we get here. Yeah. So
you got the Atari thing. What do they make nowadays?
Yeah, age is catching up to me. Yeah, the Atari 2? No, it's been 100 years.
Literally 100 years.
I don't know. I don't mess with the internets.
We're playing on holograms now, Grandma.
Yeah, but I definitely recommend checking that out.
Okay.
It's so much fun.
I need some new things to look up. I'm always looking for new games and stuff.
Yeah, and definitely hit me up, Mac069. I have the most mature gamer tag of all time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't make it when I was 13, I think is when I made that. I never changed my gamer tag. I made it on Xbox and never changed it.
That way, like, you're always reachable on the same name.
Exactly.
Mine, I always want to change. And it's like, how am I supposed to stay steady if I'm wanting to change it all the time?
I've always wanted to change I just can't bring myself to do it. I have such an attachment.
Well, I know. Whatever
it's been so long. But yeah, thank you so much. We're rambling. Thank you so much for coming on. It was great having you.
Yeah, it was great to be here.
Yep. No problem. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. Thank you guys for watching. See you.
Bye.